All right. Hello, hello, hello. I've been trying to record this video and the dog was barking like crazy. So hopefully he will be submitted and relaxed and stop barking at the neighbors. Okay. So I wanted to talk about today something that has got me stirred up. And to be very transparent and honest, I really feel like it's a personal word for me. And I was just gonna ponder it in my heart, and I was just gonna chew on it throughout the day, and then I felt like, no, I think I need to talk about this. So, I've been going through Proverbs, and I just decided I want to be a woman of wisdom, and so I start reading the book of Proverbs, and what I'm starting to do is proverb, not just like a proverb a day, but I want to read the chapter for the day. Whatever stands out to me, I want to kind of meditate on that. And then I go to my personal reading wherever I'm at in my, Bible journey, then I pick up on that. But I start off with the Proverbs, right? So, and that's my that has been my normal pattern for, I would say, maybe a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. However, if I feel led differently, I'll switch up the order in a minute. But so I read Proverbs 4 today, and Proverbs 4:7 is pretty well known, and it's different in the TLV version, but I'm going to read it. It says, "Wisdom is supreme. Acquire wisdom. With all your acquisitions, get understanding." In KJ, New King or King James or New King James, it's kind of like wisdom. I forget how it goes. Wisdom is supreme, or wisdom, whatever. Therefore, get wisdom. With all thy getting, get an understanding. That part I remember. And so that's a really well known. Well, turns out what really got to me was actually verse 26, but I'm going to start up at verse 20. Verse 20 for Proverbs chapter 4 reads, "My son, pay attention to my words." Now, pay attention, I had to double underline. I do a lot of underlining and various note taking in my Bible, but because in verse 1, I saw it first. So whenever I start seeing things multiple times, I'm like, hold on a second, you trying to tell me something. So verse 1 says, "Listen, my sons, to a father's instruction. Pay attention to gain understanding." That means, and there is that saying that where your attention goes, your energy flows, but also where your attention goes, that's what you soak in more of. You might not actually get understanding where your attention goes, but definitely those things are sowing seeds, right? So here in verse 20, it says, "My son, pay attention to my words." Where are you focusing? The Father's words, the Father's instructions. "Incline your ear to my sayings. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart." And what I see here is multiple faculties are coming into one, right? It says, incline your ear. That means like lean in. Make your ear be so attracted to my words that you are leaning with anticipation. You're hanging off my every word, right? "Do not let them out of your sight." So at some point, the sayings that you said and went into my ear went to my eyes. Why? Because they create vision. And I'm a visual person, so that really speaks to me. I can hear something and I start seeing images in my brain. So do not let them out of your sight and keep them within your heart. At some point, what goes in your ears and comes in through your eyes and that you have visions of are going to start sowing into your heart, or at least they should. And whatever is right, try to catch that filter and make sure that the right things are going into your heart. Now, verse 22, "For they are life to those who find them, and health to their whole body." I think in other versions it's like, "and good for the bones," something like that. Now, verse 23, "Guard your heart diligently." Now, diligently, I'm not sure if I've said on this platform, but definitely with my church, I have spoken about how I felt like God gave me that word, and God really speaks to me through his word. And diligent was a word that I kept seeing over and over and over again. And it's like, once you become aware of something, you're like, oh, well, for me, I'm like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? So if I get a word that's repeating to me over and over again, or over and over again, I put that one in blue. If it just stands out to me, I highlight it. or sometimes double underline or both. But I'm like, okay, so what are you trying to tell me here? And diligently was a word that came up for me before months ago. And I still see it and I still highlight it because I realized that for myself, I put discipline on a pedestal. I was very envious of those people who had discipline, almost jealous, kind of more envious, I would say. Like the military background, I'm so intrigued and so envious of the amount of discipline that they have. And I have been like that actually since a kid. I've been obsessed with military movies and things like that. I don't know. But the Lord for me was like, especially in the season when I have young children and I was having some health issues that I was like, okay, I want to be disciplined. I want to do these things. And I have some more time than I've had before. But I don't seem to be able to do these things. And God was so kind and saying, just be diligent, be consistent, and keep chipping away at things. It's going to take a long time. In fact, I just finally launched a boot camp course, and that's been in the making 3 years almost, just shy of 3 years. It's insane that it's taken me that long from inception to now, but there are moments when I was diligent, and there are many, many moments that I was not diligent, and I kept setting that thing down. But that's not what I'm here to talk about, so I digress. Guard your heart diligently, for from it flow the springs of life. Put away perversity from your mouth, and keep devious lips far from you. Let your eyes look directly ahead, and fix your gaze straight in front of you. And I made a video yesterday, or I posted something yesterday. I don't know if it was yesterday or the video before that, about gazing, about how when we take our focus and our eyes off God, we have a tendency to gaze at earthly things. And gazing is different than glancing, right? You can look over at something oftentimes when you're driving, and I don't even drive, but I hear, and from back when I was in high school and took driver's ed, you have to glance at your mirrors, right? You glance, you don't stare out your rearview mirror and you don't gaze at your side mirrors. You would get into a crash. You need to be looking straight ahead, and you glance at these other things, right? You take notice of those things. But here it's like, okay, if you start gazing at the wrong thing, you're going to see that your direction shifts because you start going where you're looking at, right? And so this is saying to fix your gaze straight in front of you. This is the verse that spoke to me, verse 26. All that's lead up. Clear a level path for your feet, so all your ways will be firm. And then it finishes up 27. Do not turn to the left or to the right. Divert your foot from evil. So the word that spoke out to me there was clear. And I wasn't sure why that jumped out to me. Sometimes it's literally like it's highlighted or like it's in bold when I read it. And so I was like, okay, I'm not sure what that's going on. So I was like, all right, I highlighted it, gave it a double underline, and moved on with my life. So I'm in Joshua. I think today I started off with 16 where I left off. Yes, inheritance of Ephraim. I got to 17, inheritance of Manasseh, and I get down to this. Verse 14, then the children of Joseph spoke to Joshua, saying, why have you given us only one allotment and one portion for an inheritance? For we are numerous people whom Adonai has thus far blessed. So Joshua said to them, if you have so many people, go up to the forest and clear a place for yourself there in the land of the Pezerites and the Rephaim. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you. There we go, that word clear again. I was like, okay, interesting. Verse 16, the hill country will not be enough for us, the children of Joseph replied, but all the Canaanite who inhabit the valley have iron chariots. Both those are in Beth Shean and its villages, and those are in just Israel Valley. Verse 17, but Joshua spoke to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, you are numerous people with great strength. He's affirming them. He's one repeating to them what they said about themselves 2 verses earlier that they somehow seem to forgot when they started talking about the Canaanites and iron chariots. He's like, no, no, no. You are a numerous people. And then bring it up a notch. You have great strength. With great strength, you shouldn't have just one allotment because the hill country should be yours. Though it is a forest, you will clear it, and its farthest borders will be yours, for you will drive out the Canaanites, even though they have iron chariots and even though they are strong. So I had to sit on that. I was like, God, what are you trying to tell me with this? So I go back. I felt crazy. I was like, oh my goodness, clear. Like, what are the chances that that word would be jumping out at me today when I just read it in Proverbs? So I went back to Proverbs. I have my own little thing, and I'll write down other verses, if I read it that day that remind me of this or have the same word or whatever the case. So I went back in there and I was looking at it. I'm like, well, Proverbs says that it will to clear a path essentially for my feet, a level path. I can't forget that word, a level path for my feet. And so I'm like, and now Joshua's telling the sons of Joseph, who at this point they've gone in, they've taken the land, and they're giving allotments to all the different tribes. And here, the sons of Joseph are like, we're not going to be able to this isn't going to work. But they're up against, in my imagination, when I say it's like the backdrop is like this forest, and that can be included, but it's uninhabitable. It's a natural resource. They don't have it, which reminds me of when God is saying, I'm going to give you a land flowing with milk and honey. That didn't mean that milk was running down the sides of the mountain and that honey was dripping off the trees. No, it probably looked more like there were lots of cows and there were bees around and they could pollinate, and whatever the case may be. It was more of it in its natural state, which meant that it was going to require participation. You were going to have to do your part, but the resources, the land would be rich in resources. And so here, they need more space, and it's like, well, you've got this whole forest that is included in this. You're going to have to clear that out, and then that's going to extend your borders, extend your territory. So I think that's so good and interesting. And also the Canaanites now, in the area that they took over, they let the Canaanites stay. God didn't tell you to let them stay. God told you to get rid of them and wipe them out, but you didn't, because they are strong. They had iron chariots. You didn't put it, whatever the case may be, they're still living among them. And I know that from before, they said that they forced them into forced labor. So now the Canaanites are working for them, but it's like you still are low key afraid of these people. And so I feel like the message I was really getting was like, Allison, because I've been asking for clarity on many a different thing. And even this morning, I was just like, I just don't know sometimes, am I going in the direction that you want me to go? Because let's be honest, I've lived so many years outside of your will, doing me, and I really don't want to do that anymore. I'm not going to lie, some parts of it were fun, and some parts of it were truly embarrassing, devastating, and now looking back on it, shameful, some parts of it, and lonely even when I was out in a group. So like making a decision to follow Christ has been the best decision I've ever made. And so now I'm like, man, God, just tell me, like, I don't want to do something without you co-signing. I don't want it to be my will and not yours. I want you to lead in this situation. So am I heading down the right path? And so I just felt like, clear it out. Clear it out. Like, I've given you territory. Let's make it more plain. I've given you gifts. So I've given you these things, and you're not using them to the full capacity. These are resources. There are resources in my life, in your life, that maybe we're not really utilizing. We're not rolling up our sleeves and getting in there. We're not doing what basically he said in Genesis to take control, to take authority over and multiply. So take dominion, right? And so we're not taking dominion of our gifts. We're not taking dominion of our territory. We're not taking dominion over these resources. Let's be real. He gave us all the resources. And so now it's our responsibility to do something with these things. You know, they say like, give a woman groceries, she'll make you a meal. Well, it's the same thing. Like, imagine if you had all these groceries, but you don't make anything. Things will start going bad, right? And so it's like, not that God's saying that our resources are going to go bad, but in my mind, it's like, okay, well, there's a time, there's a shelf life, and not that that's supposed to make me run if God's telling me to walk, but that is bringing my awareness that, hey, these things are available to me and I'm in need now. So why don't I figure out a way to make these things work? Why don't I start figuring out how to put these things together? Because maybe, like myself, maybe the gifts and the resources are kind of like a leftover box of Legos with no instructions, and you want to try to make something. You're like, well, I don't have the instructions. Well, yes, there's the Word of God, and some of it might be trial and error. And so, regardless, you have to get started. So this is another thing. And to be quite frankly, I've recorded this video once before, and the fact that I just said get started leads me back to this original dream that I had. And I won't go into here because I don't want this video to be forever long, but there were words that appeared at the bottom of that vision, of that dream that I had. And, you know, they kind of reminded me of, what's that movie with Kevin Bacon? Not The Sixth Sense. Some movie, I forget. But and he's in a movie theater and he's being hypnotized and he sees these words starting to appear on the screen. And it was like that. It's like the closer I got to the words started to get cleared up, but they were really big, really bold, really wide. And for me, it said get started. And so this has been an ongoing process, but maybe you feel the same way. That's more of a personal story for me, but maybe you feel the same way, that God has been leading you to get started, or God has given you certain things, and then maybe it doesn't seem like enough, which seems really harsh to say, but maybe you're like, God, I'm a numerous people. I got lots of bills. I got lots of responsibilities, but this isn't enough. And maybe God's saying, well, look at the resources you really have at hand. What can you do with what I've already given you? If you're looking for a word of clarity, it's like, what can you do with the word I already gave you? Have you maximized that word? Have you done everything for that word? Have you maximized that resource? Have you done everything with the resource? Have you even explored the resources? It's like getting a gift and you don't even open the box. You're like, okay, I'll do it later. No, it was a gift. Open it up, see what's inside, explore, see how you can integrate that into your systems, into what you already possess, into your own possessions. How can you integrate these things and then move forward? How does it make you better? So improve you, amplify your voice, whatever the case may be. So I think, one, what I see Joshua do is that he affirms, yes, you are numerous people. Two, he says, he also reminds them, because we need to be reminded that we have great strength, right? Especially now, this is Old Testament, but we're in New Testament living and we have the Holy Spirit. So now it's like, okay, we have the Holy Spirit. So we have dunamis, we have power. So if we now have power and God is providing and has given us provision and resources, then what's our excuse exactly? It seems like perhaps a lack of faith, perhaps a fear of man. And so maybe if we redirect that, we will get some different results. So just saying, think about it today. I think this is something that we could all meditate on. What is it that God is asking me to clear out? What is it that's going to take some work? Where are my resources? What are the things that God has gifted me, either in direct provision or things that maybe in a raw state that I need to explore more, that could provide more once I get into it. God, it's all a partnership. Yes, God will give us these supernatural divine blessings, and other things we just also have to partner with and make work. He gave us hands, He gave us feet. And even for some who don't have both, some of them work harder and more intensely and motivate and encourage and do all these things. So it's no excuses where we are in the spectrum, but it's to say, with all that you've given me already, and with all that you've given me to possess, right? Have I maximized that? Have I done my part? You've done your part, sir. Have I done my part? Am I doing my part? And if not, it's never too late to start. Okay, that's it. Bye.